I don't know about you, but I love board game conventions, especially the ones that are focused on open gaming, where I get to meet new people, hang with friends, and play board games all day long. That's why I always look forward to BGG Spring and BGG Con. This year's BGG Spring is coming up and runs from May 22nd to May 26th at the Hyatt Regency Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. So you can basically hop off the plane and jump into your first game in no time. It's well over 50% sold out, and hotel rooms are going fast. And then later this year, BGG Con is coming back to the Hyatt Regency in downtown Dallas from November 19th to the 23rd. Badges are on sale now. I hope you can join us for one or both of these awesome play cons and have a blast binging board games in our growing library, which has over 9,000 games. Hope to see you there. This episode is sponsored by Lookout Games. Welcome to episode 66 of the Board Game Geek podcast, where we geek out about board games, the mechanisms behind them, and the people who create them. I'm your host, Candace Harris, and I am super excited to be here today with Jamie from Foster the Meeple and Solo Mode and other stuff. How's it going,
others,
Jamie?
Yeah. It's great. It's great. Yeah, and other stuff. It always feels like the list is continuing to grow and grow and grow. But I'm still just one person, which is great.
Well, it is great to finally catch up with you. I feel like we've been talking about doing this for a while, and I'm glad we finally are. I want to have Jeff on at some point too.
Yeah.
But what's new in your world?
Well, I feel like there's always so much going on. Jeff and I just finished our annual Foster the Game-a-thon, which is our 24-hour all-you-can-play board game-a-thon. A Discord member came up with the long title, but
awesome.
It's great, yeah. So we stay up for 24 hours once a year streaming board games.
Wow.
And yeah, it's hard on the old body, but it is super fun. And so we did it this a couple of weeks ago, and this is the first year that we had some person guests with us, which was great because it alleviated some of the, if you needed a break, you could hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had a great time. We played, I think, 18 games over the course of the 24 hours, and our community gets super into it. And
that's cool.
It's awesome. So for breakfast, we order McGriddles, and then everybody's sending us pictures of their McGriddles. We're ordering them
cool.
too. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of the big thing that just happened. And then this coming week, I'm going to an event called Canada Plays, which is hosted by Asmodee Canada. And so it's a lot of publishers and some Canadian content creators and stuff. So it's just fun to go to that one because it's a quick flight for me to Toronto. It's nice.
Nice.
I don't have to do 3 flights, which I usually have to do when I go to any convention. And it's good to see a lot of the Canadian publishers and people, the Asmodee people in particular, don't usually go to the US conventions. So you don't get to see them a ton.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
That is cool. So I have 2 questions about your Foster the Game-a-thon.
Absolutely.
One is, what was your favorite game experience there?
Okay, so as you can imagine, throughout 24 hours of being awake, you get a little bit loopier as the night goes along. And so we played Critter Kitchen around, I think it was 2 or 3 a.m. And I was gone at that point. And I don't know, are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know the interview where Elijah Wood is being interviewed by the guy who plays Mary, and he's asking him about wigs? Like, do you wear wigs?
No, I don't know
Okay.
it. I don't know.
And I somehow that got into my head during Critter Kitchen, and throughout the whole thing, it's just me going, "Do you wear wigs? Will you wear wigs?" And I'm just like, I cried, I
Delirious.
laughed, I was delirious, but that game is such a it's high interaction game that it made it even better that we were kind of like lost at that point. So, and it was my first time playing it too. And I'm like, I'm having a great time. And I had to be reminded of the rules like every 10 minutes. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what are we doing? And someone's like, we're doing the same thing we've been doing
Are you
for the
wearing a
last
wig?
hour. Yeah, I'm like, but will you wear wigs?
Will you wear wigs?
I'm sure some people listening will know exactly what I'm talking. I highly recommend that you look it up on
Okay.
YouTube after. It's so dumb, but it's so funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't played Critter Kitchen yet, but it looks super cute.
Yeah.
My other question was going to be when you finish. So like usually after a game night, like no matter how tired I am, I could have played TI4 for 13 hours or 1880 China or whatever, and I could be exhausted, but I can't fall asleep. Was it easy to go to sleep when you were finished?
So the interesting thing is like usually the night before the Game-a-thon, I can't sleep, which is not good because like I'm constantly like, okay, you need to make sure you get up early. You got to get up early to make sure, is the camera set up right? Is this like all the technical stuff running through my head? And so I was up for longer than 24 hours, and we started at 6 a.m., ended at 6 a.m. the following day. And then I didn't go to bed until maybe like 8:30. And then I only took maybe like a 4-hour nap. But at that 8:30, when I hit the bed, I was gone. But I still woke up a couple hours later, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm still alive. So let's keep going.
That's cool. Yeah, I know the brothers Murph have done stuff like that, and some other like streamers have done like 24-hour sessions like that.
Yeah.
I could probably do it. I'm surprisingly like when it comes to sleep and food, like I don't get hangry and I don't get like grumpy unless it's like I'm on my like 27th wind and like haven't slept, or been getting like barely any sleep for multiple days. Which is why regular listeners of this podcast are probably like, oh, you sound funny today, Candace. Because I'm just kind of getting over a cold because I think this kind of maybe started when I was in DC. I was in DC for Circle DC, and I just found out from Jamie that Jeff was there, and you were almost there.
Almost.
We had this, I didn't know you loved war games.
Yeah.
This is very exciting because
it's exciting because like I don't know if you ever do this, but like we play remote async, like Cuba Libre, Red Dust Rebellion, all of these games with like Rodney all the time. So like we have a system down pat for like setting it up and playing it from like different areas of the world.
Yeah. I was also introduced. I feel like Rodney coined that. Because he and I played A Distant Plane together.
We played that one together as well. Yeah.
My friend Hector and I played the 2-player variant for Liberty or Death one time. Async. It's awesome. It really lends itself to being able to be played that way, and you can kind of like take your time thinking about your turns and whatnot. But also, I'm just excited too because I feel like the female content creators that like war games are very rare. And I'm like, I knew like Liz Davidson, I know me, and now I know you too.
Yeah.
But like beyond that, it's a small population that I hope will continue to grow for people who like those kind of games, like nice tense gameplay,
Oh yeah, tense gameplay with a lot of sassy back and forth around the table and all the sneakiness, and the games are amazing.
Awesome. Well, so this is my first time to Circle DC. I had a fantastic time. I've been trying to like go out
I forget how long Kevin's been doing it, but like I've been trying to go the past couple years, but it just never quite works out. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make it over there. Cause I was excited. Like I love SD-HustCon. I love going to like GMT weekend at the warehouse and like going to these like smaller historical board game conventions because it's so intimate. Often there are tons of designers there and publishers, and like the designers will have new prototypes. Yeah. And I got to meet Volko Ruhnke for the first time in person, and he probably thought I was a wackadoo, but I was like, can we take a picture? Like, I was just like, I don't know. Like, that guy, I have so much respect for him.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's just like a brilliant designer and such a nice human being. And yeah, I was kind of like taken aback when I saw him in person. So that was really, really cool. I had the same reaction seeing Mark Herman at SD-HistCon last year.
Right.
But the other crazy thing with Circle DC is that, I left on a Thursday, the Thursday before.
Yeah.
And that Wednesday night, my friend Ben Mandelker from the Game Brain podcast, he just texted me. I was like, hey, do you want to play a game tonight? And I was like, no, I can't. I'm finishing some stuff. I need to pack because I'm going to DC tomorrow. And he's like, I'm going to be in DC this weekend. And I was like, what? And so I was like, are you going to have time to play games? And so he landed Friday afternoon, hit me up. Kevin was able to get him a badge so he could like come in that night. And I got to introduce him to so many people. I almost felt like I was like taking my kid to kindergarten or something.
Right.
Like Ben's like dabbled in historical games, but he's not like quite as passionate as maybe we are. Well, not yet.
Right.
So it was like cool to have him there. He got to meet Edward from Heavy Cardboard. He got to meet Liz Davidson, got to meet a ton of people. And in fact, he just texted me last night that he was streaming on Heavy Cardboard because the reason he's like going around is because he's on tour with his other podcast, Watch What Crappens. Anybody out there who likes Bravo TV and wants to hear people talking about it, check out Watch What Crappens. It's actually really huge. And he tours and then he tries to like hit game shops or play games wherever he can. So it was really cool to get some games in with him and just a bunch of people. Like I have this crew of friends that I will call the False Topple crew, and that is related to Pax Porfiriana. But I met this couple, Nate and Amanda, at SD-HistCon, and then Nate. And they're from Austin right now. And then Nate went to BGG Con and was like, hey, I'm going to be here. So then we met up and we played a bunch of games together. And then we met this other guy, Matt. And then they were all at PAX Unplugged and we all gamed together there. And it's like, I feel like we've been friends for like 4 years and it hasn't even been a year. And now we got plans for games at BGG Spring. So I'm excited about that. Anyways,
I love that.
Yeah. I love there's so many just like awesome people in the board gaming community. And it's exciting. But considering this is episode 66, today we're going to discuss some of our favorite board games that play best with or are just great with 6 players.
I'm excited because usually you have those moments when you play a game where you're like, oh, this is good, but I think I'd only want to play it at 2. Or this is good, but I think I'd only want to play it like this. But like, there's a very rare type of game that I will be like, this is good, but I think I only want to play it like at either as many players as it goes or like 6+.
Yeah.
And so those are games that I feel like don't get talked about a lot. And I especially like going to conventions and stuff when you've got a group of players. Usually you're going to have like 6 or more, like depending on kind of what you're doing. So there's some good games in this category.
Totally. And you're totally right. Like we're about to, even though nowadays it's like the whole year is like con season, I feel like there are conventions now, every month around the world. But we are about to hit that like Gen Con, Origins, Gen Con, Essen kind of realm of the summer. And yes, there are BGG Spring and there are conventions. And when you are at conventions, you often will have big groups. So, yeah. I don't want to like spoil anything, but I also, after Circle DC, I went up to the mountains here in Wrightwood, California, like an hour and a half away, and played games with some friends there. So I'll talk more about that in a bit. But talking about like 6-player games, like there were lots of opportunities for higher player count games. Anyways, before we start talking about some of our favorite games to play with 6, I'd love to hear what you've been playing lately, Jamie. So let's jump into fresh plays.
Let's do that. It was really hard for me to pick games because, like, I play so many games. It's hard to narrow it down.
I know, especially to 2. It's like, I don't know why I did this to myself when I made this part of the podcast. I should have made it like 5 games, but yeah.
So the first one that's on my list is the newest game that I'm absolutely obsessed with. Like, you know how sometimes you'll play a game and the first player, like, it's sometimes even when you read the rule book. Like, the first time I read the Dominant Species rule book, I was immediately like, I already love this game. I'm like, I don't even know if we need to play. I love it. Kanban EV, same thing happened.
Yeah.
And this game is Crafting the Cosmos, which is the newest game from Office Dog. And they've just been hitting it out of the park.
Seriously.
They're crushing it.
Like Lord of the Rings, the trick-taking game, Fellowship of the Ring. Like
River of Gold.
River of Gold. Yeah. It's like, Office Dog, where did you come from?
Exactly.
Like, there was no Office Puppy. It just, they went right to Office Dog.
Right to dog. Yeah, they grew right up very quickly. So Crafting the Cosmos, like I said, just came out. So it's a 2025 release. It was designed by David Gordon and Tam, and it's a 2 to 4 player count. And I have played this at 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I've played it at, I guess, 2, 3, 4. All of the player counts. I've played it at all of the player counts.
Nice.
And it is on Board Game Arena if people are interested in trying it out. But so in this game, have you played it yet?
I have.
Okay,
I have.
great.
I actually, I wasn't going to say anything, but I made an in-focus video for it.
Well, there. So you know about it. It
hasn't dropped yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I've only played it like 1.5 times.
Got it. So yeah, this game it's really like unique. There's basically like there's 2 phases in the game, and the first phase is the energy phase. And what I like about this phase is it has a toy factor because there are marbles, and your marbles are your energy, and you're moving them around this little like track, and wherever your marble and the dark energy, so the non-player marbles land, those are the resources that you get to gather. And then with those resources, you go into the crafting phase, and you have to make the most of all of the resources you've gathered to essentially you're crafting the cosmos. It's in the name. But yeah. Like you're putting out different stars in order to create and complete these nebulas, basically, in order to then create life to score points.
Right.
It's board games. We're scoring as many points as we can. But what I find to be like so interesting about it is that like you don't really know all the nebulas that are going to come up and what you're going to need, and like trying to manipulate the marbles and everything to get everything that you need. And you're not really interacting with other players. Like you're just kind of like working on your puzzle, but sometimes they'll move the marbles in a way where you're like, well, now I can't do that.
I can't get 3 of those or
yeah. And to me, it's like this massive puzzle. And then there's going to be a point in the game where you start scoring like global objectives, essentially.
Yep.
And that's where the interaction comes in, because you're not paying attention to what anybody is doing. And then you start looking around, you're like, you have 4 supernovas? I forgot I was even supposed to have a supernova. And it's just like, it's a blast. And so we also played this during the Game-a-thon way too late, and it was bananas. But so Jenna from the Board Game Garden, who I think you had on your last episode possibly. So she made a suggestion to us at 3 a.m., which she thought was a great idea, that we all just do our turns simultaneously. And it just went into pure chaos mode.
Well,
But it was still fun.
yeah, because I think after you shift your energy and get your resources, it's like the next
when
person
you craft,
can really
But like you do that, but then you forget to stop, and everybody we just kept
then you're
going.
like, wait, how many turns did you take? Yeah,
exactly. And we're like, did we score these goal cards? Whose turn is it? So it was chaos.
And you're all running on fumes. But I guess the one thing I definitely want to call out about this game, number one, David, Gordon, and Tam, they also designed Monkey Palace, and I think the other game they have out is called Floristry, or it's coming out. Like they're doing very like kind of like innovative stuff, which I really appreciate. I think they're a good duo of designers, but crafting the cosmos looks so cool. I mean, you were talking about the toy factor of having the marbles, but like the other thing is the tray that you're moving the marbles around, the energy is also part of the insert for the game. So it kind of like makes setting it up pretty fast, and it has little bowls for like the different resources, and the resources are just like awesome. Like sometimes the little life, the proto life, they're little like
they're hard to like fiddly,
they're hard to like get in, but it's just like it's a really cool looking game, and my favorite color combination is pink and orange together. And I feel like it's just like what they did is so like poppin' and vibrant. And the table presence is just like really striking. And it's just like, it's a cool, light game where, you have those moments where you're like, oh, I'm just working on my board, my little puzzle. And then the universal goal cards start flowing down and it's like, oh, wait. So Jamie's ahead of me now on proto life in this sector of the board.
Yeah. Like what you said, the production quality is insane. And not just that, but like something I always appreciate is when designers and publishers really focus on like UX, so like user experience. So even the way that like everything fits into your player board, and like where the nebulas go, there's a little divot so that you don't have to like fiddle with them. You can like press them down and they pop up. And it's just like, they've thought of the things that like make playing the game like so much more enjoyable beyond the game itself, like actually like using it. And it plays really well on Board Game Arena as well. So like that's where I play with Mike from the Brothers Murph all the time, and I've crushed him every time. I'm just gonna say it out loud. Just so everybody, he beats me in every other game. This is my shining moment. I was like, I am the master of the cosmos.
I haven't seen the Board Game Arena implementation of it.
I think it's on alpha or beta. So it's still kind of like, it's not like fully out yet.
I don't know. I gotta touch the marbles. Like shifting those marbles is, I don't know if I can do it with that. No, it's probably cool. But yeah, Office Dog has been kind of knocking it out of the park. I really like River of Gold is like stunning, and it's such a like solid medium weight Euro game. Oh, okay. Anyways, okay, cool. That's great. I was excited that you're going to talk about this one.
Yeah.
So that is Crafting the Cosmos. I mentioned that I was like in the mountains gaming with some friends, and one of my friends that was coming is somebody I don't get to game with that often because she lives a little further away. You know, LA is big. So we just don't see each other, but like, you know, at our local convention every couple times a year or whatever. And she was mentioning which games she liked. And one of them she said was Argent, the Consortium. And I was like, I would love to play that game. First of all, have you played it before, Jamie?
I haven't, no.
Okay, you're in for a treat here. Maybe. I mean, like, I'm starting to learn your, like, I know you like solo games. Now I know you like war games. So we'll see what you think about this. But this is a game that, like, when I got into gaming, I want to say either in late 2018 or early 2019, when I was, like, getting deep, and I was, like, looking up videos for people's favorite worker placement games. And this popped on my radar because it was probably on somebody's list. And I bought it. I was like very intimidated by it. And so I just like never got it to the table. And I eventually sold it. And then I started in like preemptively because I knew I was going to be playing it. I started watching videos on it and I was like, oh, I'm excited to play this. And it's like, it is like that moment. I've had that with several games where you read the rule book and you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm like you.
Yeah, exactly. So Argent the Consortium is a highly interactive worker placement game from 2015 designed by Trey Chambers, and it's published by Level 99 Games. It plays with 2 to 5 players, and in the game, it's basically Harry Potter.
Right.
And this is from someone who's like not into Harry Potter, but we're part of the staff at Argent University of Magic, and we are competing to become the new chancellor. Chancellor is retiring, and so we're basically competing to take that job. And there are no victory points in this game because because what we need voters. So instead of having like just straight up victory points, there are 12 votes that are going to be given out at the end of the game. 2 of them are like, and they're basically scoring objectives, but 2 of them are face up at the start of the game. And then the other 10 are face down. And each player gets to peek. They get to put like one of their little envelope mark tokens on a different one at the very start of the game. So you have some information about what you want to get. And all of these supporters want something like, for example, there are like, I think 6 different types of magic, that there are spell cards, there are supporters, there are, resources. So one person who's voting might say, hey, whoever has the most gold at the end of the game, you will get my support. And like one could be whoever has the most technomancy spells or whatever, you will have my support. Whoever has the most wisdom, which is one of the resources, you will get my support. So anyway, there are a bunch of these different cards. And so you have the 2 that are always face up, most influence and most supporters, which is a type of card. But then you don't know. And during the game, you're going to try to figure out by peeking at more and more cards, paying attention to what your opponents are doing. Like, oh, Jamie, I see you have a lot of mana there. Like,
don't worry about it.
I don't know. It seems like that might be scoring. Like somebody might care about that. But anyway, that's like, so that's the game. There is an influence track, which is potentially a tiebreaker at the end. But you're really like, you're just like doing stuff to hopefully set yourself up to score as many of these voter support as you can get. You play 5 rounds. And this is a game that has a ton of variability because the board is modular. You set it up with these different room tiles that are double-sided. The mages in the game, so your workers, which you draft, you'll start with 2 based on the character you pick. And everybody starts with a character that has its own unique ability, which is like their starting spell. But then you're going to draft other mages, and these are all different color mages that you'll put your player color base on to say that that's my green mage. And they each have like special powers. Like the red mage can wound somebody, basically send one of your opponent's workers to the infirmary and take their space. Then the green ones are protected from being wounded. And then you have other ones that do other cool stuff. But even that, like when you draft these at the beginning, like figuring out how you want your worker pool to look at the beginning compared to everybody else, I find that really interesting. And then like the flow of the game is when you get to the round, there's the errands phase, and that's where you're going to be placing your workers. And you mentioned dominant species. So I will say it's like a similar thing where you place all your workers and then you resolve. But in this case, part of it is the fact that like people can cast spells and do some stuff and be like, oh, I'm going to shadow you or I'm going to bump you to the infirmary. Well, I have a spell where I can heal myself and like yada, yada, yada. There's a lot going on. Another thing I love about this game is that the timer for the end of the round is variable. Though it's player driven because you have these bell tower cards. And these bell tower cards are like, we're at the university, but the first time I played this was a 5-player game. So it's like there are five cards or 6. I don't remember if there's number of players plus 1 or not, but there's a number of bell cards. And on your turn, you can take a fast action and you can take a main, like regular action. And there are certain cards that'll let you have fast actions. The purple mages can be placed as a fast action, but you're mainly going to be doing a regular action. And one of your options is to take one of these bell tower cards and get whatever is on it. It might be some money, some other resource, take first player, but that's your like turn for the, and then like when those cards are gone, that's the end of the round. And
interesting.
It is so great because like my one friend Marissa was like, she had a crazy tableau of spell cards and she was able to do something that basically like untapped her one of her spells, and we were like, oh no, if we don't end the round, like she's gonna use that again,
Yeah.
So we were able to do it such that me and that X2 players all pulled bell tower cards, and it just ended the round. And you can like push and pull the tempo of it, and it's just wild to me because and then you're gonna resolve everything from top to bottom, left to right. You have a certain number of rooms based on the player count. And also because the rooms are out in different orders, sometimes you'll be like, oh, I need to spend this resource, but as long as I stay in this position, I'll get that before this room resolves and I need to spend it or whatever. But it has a sprawling table presence because there are lots.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. There are like 3 main different types of cards besides the bell towers. There are these square tiles that make up the room. So it's like it does take up a lot of, and then you're building like a tableau of different cards that you can exhaust, some that are one-time use effects. It's crazy to me that this game is on BGG. I think it was like a 3.7 in complexity because it really does not feel that complex. I feel like it's complex looking, but the iconography is really good. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, it does not feel that complex. Like if you told me like 3.3.
Complexity and strategy, because if there's so many different types of characters and abilities, like to master that's like sometimes with the weight on BGG, I'm like, is this like heavy in terms of learning the game or is it heavy in terms of like the strategy of playing? So maybe that one is an instance where people are like, oh, it took me a while to like grok this game or something.
Like I don't even know because the strategy is interesting because you don't know or like up front what all the scoring objectives are.
Right.
So you only start kind of like discovering that. But it is a worker placement, and there are definitely spots that are better on different rooms than others. And there's this like cool mechanism where you can shadow someone. Some effects let you shadow. And so you get to basically take the same action as the other person, but after them. So it's just really cool. I'm really excited to explore it more. The orange worker, when you place them, you could spend 3 coins to research, which helps you level up your spells and get new spells. And it's just like, if you like games or anyone out there likes games that have a ton of variability, like a ton, like, because you don't even use all the rooms. I mean, maybe at the highest player count, but then they're all double-sided. And then all of the mages are also double-sided and they have like different starting spells and effects and everything. But it's just fun. It's pure fun.
As games should be. I love a fun game.
Yeah. I've been having so much fun with it. And I also like, I've gotten into this game called Black Rose Wars Rebirth recently. And so right now I'm just on a kick with slinging spells, like games that have mages and stuff like that. I don't know. But yeah, this is just one that I've been wanting to play forever. And even all these years later, I'm very excited to play this more. And that is Argent the Consortium. What do you think? Like, does that sound like something you would dig?
Yeah. I love anything with any kind of asymmetry. Like I personally, Jeff and I are massive fans of mean games. So anything where you can mess with other people.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that sounds like something that this game encourages, because like you need to stop people from getting the vote so you can get them. So so Trey Chambers, he also did Harvest.
Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah. I was like, I recognize that name because
I haven't
played a game by him. Yeah, I really like that one. Totally different vibe.
Yeah.
Totally different vibe. But still, like, and I love dominant species, and I like putting out workers and then resolving in almost like a formulaic way. But the fact that you can then mess with that with other people, like by playing cards, I think that sounds super interesting. I've never even heard of this game before.
Yeah, it's I think it's just I don't remember how I initially heard of it. And Level 99, they're a bit of a smaller publishing company, like they do Bullet Heart and Bullet Star.
Yeah.
And the other game I just ended up picking up or ordering from somebody on the geek market is Imperial Spells and Steam. Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's another Trey Chambers. It's basically a train game where you're magicians.
What?
So there's all sorts of crazy stuff happening, and you're kind of racing to get a certain amount of deliveries. So it's got like pick up and deliver. But it looks super cool. I will say, if you'll be at BGG Spring, I have some plans to play it. So, and it plays with 2 to 6. And it's supposed to be good at all player counts. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah, so
wizards on a train. I mean, magicians on a train. Same thing.
Same thing. But yeah, I'm really digging like Trey Chambers. Like, just I don't know. Like, it just feels different. You know.
Yeah.
Sure, you're collecting resources to have more than other players or whatever, but it just feels different. I love the end of round variability, and also the way the game ends, like the scoring. So
yeah.
Anyways, check it out. I'd be happy to teach you and Jeff at whatever convention we're at together next.
Yes, whichever one is next. Exactly.
Cool. That was Argent the Consortium.
So the second game that I have, it's a bit of a cheat because really it's like a kind of collection of games, but I'll just talk about one of them. But
okay.
So this is the Silver series from Bezier Games. I want to talk specifically about Silver Fang, but before I kind of get into that, like Silver Bullet, which is the second of the series, is kind of how it was like the mainstay of our channel. Like everything was Silver Bullet. It was our most played game because it's very mean. And Jeff and I love to be mean to each other in games. And so like we've had this big journey with the Silver games throughout the years. And now Silver Eye and Silver Fang just came out. And we just did, I'm actually in the process of editing the playthroughs right now, but we just played Silver Eye. And then we did one with Silver Fang. And what's interesting about Silver Fang, so once again, it's Bezier Games. It just came out. So it was, I think, kickstarted last year and it's fulfilling now. It's 2 to 4 players. We typically play it at 2, but we played these ones at 4. And it's designed by Ted Alspach, who's, the
Bezier
werewolf
game.
king, basically.
Yeah.
So Silver Fang was designed to be played in teams, whereas the rest of them, like you could play any of them in teams. But this one is very specific, like works well to be played like 2v2. And so basically, like all of the Silver games play the same. You have a village of 5 cards, and those cards all have numbers on them and different powers depending on what card they are. The numbers represent how many werewolves are in your village, and you don't want werewolves in your village. Apparently, that's bad. So I've been told. So it's whoever has the lowest points win. You play it over 4 rounds, and the first thing you get to do is you get to look at 2 of your cards, try and remember them. Good luck. Try and remember them. Put them face down, and then the whole game is you can either draw a card to replace one of the cards in your village, or you can discard it and use its discard ability, or you can take a discard and put it in your village. If your village gets down to 4 cards, you can call a vote. And you only want to call a vote, so 4 or less cards, if you believe that you have the fewest amount of points in your pile. And if you do, you get to score 0 that round. And if you don't, you have to add 10. And keeping in mind, you want 0 points. So this game is typically played competitively, and it is mean because you're just trying to mess with other people. You're trying to throw cards in their piles. But this is the first time that I've played it like cooperatively, and it totally changed the game. And afterwards, like, we all had so much fun playing it because, like, it's limited communication. You can't just be like saying to your partner, hey, I have a 13. Can you get rid of it for me? Or like anything like that.
Right.
But I like, after we had played it, Jeff and I were both like, is this the new way that we want to play this game? Like, it just totally changed it for me. And
wow, cool.
yeah, it's really interesting. And I like, something I love so much about the Silver series is like, you can mix and match all of the sets. You could be like, well, I'll use the 0s from Bullet, and I'll use the 3s from Coin, and the 7s from Fang, or whatever you want to do, because they're like spelling out the alphabet basically. Yeah. But I just
that's
like
funny.
yeah, and like, we built at one point, we had built like our ultimate deck, and we just put all the meanest cards in it. Other people didn't want to play with our deck, but like, I just think like there's something about playing a game that its purpose is to be interactive, and its purpose is to kind of mess with other people. So nobody's getting mad because everybody knows like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's the game. And playing it in a team and having a partner to try and like read their minds, because like, Jeff and I weren't partners. I was partnered with my friend Matt, and Jeff was partnered with my brother Jason. And like, I know how Jeff thinks, but I don't know how Matt thinks. So he's like putting in the cards in the deck for me to like draw, and then I pick it up and I discard it. He's like, I put that in there for you to use. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. And it was just like, yeah, it totally like, it changed up the game. So for anybody that's played any of the Silver games and you haven't tried to play it cooperatively, because they also did Scram.
Okay.
So I think that, I don't know, last year or the year before, it's basically Silver, but it's set at a campground, and it's basically Silver co-op. But I prefer the werewolf theme personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just fun.
So is Fang the only one that's co-op in the Silver line?
You can play any of them co-op, but
okay.
Silver Fang, they designed it with co-op play in mind.
Gotcha.
So the cards in that deck work better when playing in teams. Whereas like some of the other ones, like there will be certain cards in some of the decks that like in the rule book, it'll say, if you're playing with this doesn't work like this for co-op or this whatever. So like, I mean, I would recommend like, if you're going to try it co-op, to play it with this deck in particular. Because it's just like lends to that team play, which was really fun.
Cool. Silver Fang. I've only played one of the Silver games, and I cannot remember which one it was, but it was something before the new ones just came out.
Yeah. So there's Amulet, Bullet, Coin, Dagger, and then the new ones are Eye and Fang.
Maybe it was Bullet.
I think Bullet's the most popular one, I think.
Maybe that's why I think it's that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember, but I was curious. You kind of answered my question when you were talking. Like, I was curious if they were all similar, but just different card effects.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, you pretty much know, like in every set, the 0 is always going to be the best card because you don't want points. But they all do something slightly different. And some of the cards might have similar abilities, but like, I feel like Silver Bullet, which is our favorite of the series, like that one was specifically designed with like high interaction in mind. So like a lot of the cards are like, you can look at all of your cards, and then one of the cards is like shuffle everybody's face down cards. So after they look at them, you can shuffle them back. And yeah, so that one is definitely like the meanest of them for sure.
Do you guys like innovation?
We love innovation.
Okay, I was gonna say like that's that is a good one for people who like
to blow things up from everybody else. It's like, I'm just gonna like get rid of everything. Sorry.
So good though. Oh,
yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, the next game I'm gonna bring up is the game I played the most at Circle DC. And that's because Drew Worley was kind enough to bring me a copy of it, Molly House. So have you played Molly House yet?
No, because I didn't get to go to Circle DC. So Jeff got to play it there, but I didn't. So he loved it. He thought it was great. And he like texted me while he was playing it. He's like, oh, I feel bad because you would love this game. And I was like, cool, thanks.
Do you know how many times he got to play it?
I think he played it once.
Okay.
I think they may have only played it once.
Okay. I have a different story. But this is Molly House. It's designed by Joe Kelly and it's co-designed by Cole Worley. And it's from Whirligig Games. It was crowdfunded, I believe, on BackerKit. And it just delivered like maybe a month ago. And I was provided a copy from Whirligig, from Drew and Cole, I guess. Thank you. But I had previously played like probably 3 iterations of prototypes of this. And every time I played it before, I was always like, oh, I'm intrigued, but I have no idea because like we never played a full game. So I couldn't get a sense for exactly what was going on. And then when the finished version came out, I'm like, I don't even know like how it'll be compared to like what I've tried. But for folks who don't know about Molly House, this is Joe Kelly's design. It was in the 2021 Zenobia Awards. It was one of the finalists. And in the game, each player is taking on the role of gender-defying Mollies of the early 18th century London. And your goal is to pretty much bring joy to the queer community in London back then. And you're going to be trying to like throw parties, go on cruises, but you're also trying to avoid like some constables and like law enforcement who are not all about that. And then there's a chance that certain players might end up tipping off the law enforcement about certain Molly houses. But you have 4 different Molly houses. So number one, the production on this game is like stunning, just like every Whirligig game. Like they all have like that Whirligig like classic feel. They all have like great components and everything. But this one is like very much centered around card play. So like a lot of what you're doing during the game is like on your turn, you rolled 2 dice, they're custom dice, and you're usually going to move around the board either direction and take an action. A lot of the actions you're going to be doing is to manipulate cards in your hand. You have a deck of cards that's almost like a poker deck, but you have what are called desire cards that are ranked 1 through 9 and 4 suits that correspond to the 4 different Molly houses. And then you have Mollies, which are jacks and the queen card of each suit. And then you have the rogue and the constable cards for each suit. And those aren't good. But yeah, this game, when you play it, after you play it, like, you'll be like, oh, this is like really, really straightforward. And like the turns are fast, but the strategy is a bit opaque. And it's definitely like a bit of a wild game. So at Circle DC, I got my copy from Drew, and the event hall was closing at like 8 p.m. So we went to Ben's hotel and got a spot in this kind of like dark room with like moody lighting. And it was a bit of a cold teach because none of us, like a couple of us had played pre-production copies, but we weren't like refreshed on the rules. Also, the lighting was rough there, but we played a 5-player game, and it was one of those games that we're like, okay, we know we're making some mistakes here and there, but it was still so fascinating, and it left us talking for like an hour about it after the fact. Then Ben ends up like texting me, like, and this is like, we're talking like 1:30 in the morning, 2 in the morning. He's like went home and read the rule book, or went up to his hotel room, read the rule book. And because I'm the same way, like if I play a game like that where it's like, oh, I had that initial playthrough. I want to now look at the rules, see where we might have goofed and what I'm missing and everything. So anyway, we're talking about there. Then the next day we get back to the con, and Ben had some time before he had to go to like his show. So we ended up getting in a conversation with Edward from Heavy Cardboard for like, I want to say it was almost like an hour. So this game like was just so like talked about. And you know, any kind of game that like makes people talk about things like that much is like special, is really special. So so like I said, you're rolling and moving, you're manipulating your hand of cards. There are areas around the board that are suited, matching the card suits and the molly houses. And you have a couple basic actions, like you can move and then just draw a card from the top of the deck. There's also a card market, so you can take an indulge action. And depending on what suited site you're on, you can take one of those cards from the market, because there's a 4-card market. You could cruise certain spaces on the board. You can take a cruise action. And basically, when you take a cruise action, you have to tuck a matching suited card in your board on the left. And that's representing your reputation with a particular molly house, depending on the suit of the card. And it's a way, just mainly game-wise, to draw more cards. And then there are 4 spaces on the board that have items that are really, you know, helpful little game-breaking things. So you can pick up items. But like that's like what you're doing most of the time. But the main reason you're doing all this is because we're trying to bring joy to the community. So we want to throw parties. We want to throw festivities. So everything you're doing is kind of like to set up for these festivities. And let's say you have to be on a molly house, move to a molly house to start a festivity. So I might be like, hey, Jamie, or anybody at the table, like, I'm trying to throw a dance. Who can help? So there are 3, think of like almost like poker combinations. There are 3 types of events you can throw. And then if you can't meet any of those 3, then it becomes a quiet gathering, which kind of scores differently.
Yeah.
But the best thing you could throw is a surprise ball. And
obviously.
Yeah, of course. And that would be a straight flush, but 4 cards. All of these combos are going to be the best 4-card combo. So yeah, if you could do a straight flush, you've thrown a surprise ball. If you want to do a christening, which I found out is like back then they would like splash gin on each other. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Sounds very fun. But that one, you need a queen and then 3 cards, desire cards of the same value. So a queen, it doesn't matter what the suit is. And then for the dance, you need a jack and 3 sequential desire cards.
Interesting.
So yeah, and if you can't make any of those combos after all the cards are resolved for the festivity, then it becomes a quiet gathering. Now, let me tell you how the festivity works, because again, this is the cream of the crop of the game here. If I'm initiating it, first thing we're going to do is take a card from the top of the deck and put it face up on the table. That is the community's contributing to this festivity. And then I, as the host or the person who's throwing the party, I'm going to play 1 card, my first card. I'm going to have to play 2 cards if I'm leading this party. Then it goes around the table clockwise from me, and everybody gets the opportunity to either put in a card or pass. If you pass, it's a hard pass, unless somebody has a bottle of gin, which is an item that breaks that rule. But it's a hard pass, but you're trying to get to, well, I'll tell you about the victory condition. But basically, you're going around the table, and you're talking about like, oh, I can put in the 4 for this. And then like, oh, well, I'll put in the jack. And sometimes everything works out. Like you talk to everybody and we're like, we're going to put on this dance and I'm contributing this, you know. But then sometimes like the community is going to be putting 2 random cards in. So that might interfere with whatever the plan is. And then you have just players who interfere. Ben, at some point, he was supposed to only contribute a 3 to a dance or something. And then when he put a 3 and a 4, the second time around, he put a 4 down. It basically cut out one of the cards that the host was putting in. And yeah, so basically it was taking some personal joy from her, and it wasn't like really the plan. And it just like started this whole like fireball at the table, and we were just like, oh my gosh, Ben came to Amanda's dance and just like, was dirty dancing, and he was supposed to be with her, and we were making all this stuff up to show why he made the host of the party mad. Another time I was throwing a party, my friend Matt dumps in cards into my whatever I was throwing. I think it was trying to be a surprise ball, and he messed it up. And I was like, you came to my surprise ball and just threw up on the floor. And it caused lots of issues, because the challenge is, depending on when these constable cards and these rogues come up, they will end up in a gossip pile. And there's a gossip pile of cards. Yeah. And at some point we evaluate the gossip, and there might be like evidence against the different Molly houses. And if there's ever too much evidence, 7 or more, the Molly house is shut down. And then, so that's one of the end conditions. So I'll just tell you, there are 3 end game conditions. One is community infiltration, meaning all 4 Molly houses have been raided. Or if one of them was already closed and like fills up with 7 evidence again, like pandemic style, that's it. That's game over. Then there's like community survival. So besides tracking each player's joy level, we track the community's joy level, and the community gets joy mostly from helping out in the festivities. So we kind of like, depending on what your goals are, you're like, we got to get the community involved. And that's another way the game could end, is if the community joy hits a certain level, then whoever has the most joy wins. But there are also there are indictments you need to worry about, because yes, there are times where you will be evaluated. Like, we're gonna see who has the most reputation with this particular suit. You have the most, you get a major indictment. You have the second most, you get a minor indictment. And then, like, if the game doesn't end one of those 2 ways, it'll end in community atrophy at the end of the 5th week, meaning like we all lose.
Right.
So there's a lot to it for a game that Ben was saying that the card play reminds him of Surfasaurus Max.
Ooh,
and it was like after my first or second game of it there, I was like, holy crap, I'm the boss. That Sid Saxon game, which I know Cole is a big fan of, but it's like, really, you're rolling around the same kind of grid, and then you're making deals with people. So it's kind of funny, like, that they put their twist on it, between Joe and Cole, but it's got that kind of feel in a more modern way with a more unique theme. The fact that it's historically based is awesome. You can do role playing. So I ended up playing it 2.5 times there, and I played it another time last weekend. Every game has kind of turned out differently. I like it a lot. I don't know. Like, it's going to be one of those games where I'm going to have to play it more to see if it like really sticks. Like, I definitely think it's a piece of work of art, but I don't know yet. It's hard, because like the strategy is very opaque. I got to a position in one game where it's like, oh crap, I have major indictments. Now I need to make sure that I become an informant, but then trying to become an informant against the right house is tricky. So there's a lot to it, like definitely lots to explore, but talk about unique, talk about beautiful, talk about awesome history to reflect on and everything. And and it's just like a really, really nice production. So do you guys have Molly House? Are you going to get to play it anytime soon?
We don't have it. We definitely are wanting to get it. I know that we will get it eventually, but like I'm dying to play it because it sounds super interesting and different. Like you said, it's I love like the uniqueness of everything, like everything from the theme to the production to the play and the interaction and all of that. And I already I have a feeling I already know I'll like it because Jeff knows my playstyle well enough to be like, yeah, you're gonna like
this.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And it's like the second time we played that first 5-player game was like, oh, it was slow because we're still like looking up rules. But the next day, the game was less than 90 minutes. Like,
oh yeah, I was gonna ask like how long the gameplay was. 90 minutes. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, and another the other game I played last weekend ended on week 2 because the community joy shot up. So I love games that have like multiple victory conditions because it's like, oh, if that's the way or multiple end game condition triggers, because if that's the way it's going to end, I need to be set up to score like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that is Molly House. Looking forward to hearing what you think when you get a chance to play it. And before we jump to our 6-player games list, I just want to give a shout out to a friend's game that's on Kickstarter. It is called Grunling's Fantastic Fruit. And Patrick from the Trick Talkers podcast, which is a podcast all about like trick-taking games, climbing shedding games. They're awesome guys. But Patrick co-designed this game with Stephen McLaughlin. And let me tell you, this is like a family weight card game. It has such adorable, awesome art. Like, if you like think about all the family weight card games, you know, there are a lot of them. This one is definitely going to stand out because of the art, especially. The theme is cute, but basically it's like kind of set collection, and there are different sets of fruits that you can put in that score differently. And then you have these Grunling cards that have abilities, and you'll play with some of those. And it's got like a decent amount of player interaction. It's family weight, so anybody could play it, and it looks gorgeous. So check it out if you're like in the market for your next cute family game.
I just looked it up and it looks so cute. Yeah, it's so cute. I was like, there's a little pair who's very like sassy looking, and I'm like, I like her. All right.
Yeah, the art is, I don't remember if I mentioned it, Joanna Forster, but yeah, the art is really, really, really cool. So yeah, that's Grunling's Fantastic Fruit. And now a word from our sponsor. Yeehaw, folks! The Great Western Trail story continues. The legendary Great Western Trail trilogy probably needs no introduction. At least one of them is a staple in most gamers' shelves. But let's be honest, how often do you manage to put it on your table? Isn't it usually far too late, or does it take your fellow players far too long? This Easter, Lookout Games is handing out cowboy hats to challenge you again with Great Western Trail El Paso, a co-designed by Alexander Pfister and Johannes Kraner, which is part of Lookout's Green Line, manufactured 100% eco-friendly. Great Western Trail El Paso is a strategy game for 1 to 4 players, featuring a unique blend of deck building with a rondelle of variable actions and multiple paths to victory. It's a streamlined, compact version of the original Great Western Trail, which allows a faster setup and plays in half the amount of time. This makes it a perfect gateway to the Great Western Trail universe. So whether you're already a fan of the Great Western Trail series or haven't dared to face the bigger beast yet, it's high noon to grab your cowboy hat and get started with Great Western Trail El Paso, available at your friendly local game store this Easter. Let's just get into our 6-player game discussion. So, of the games that you have on your list, are they games that you think play best with 6 or just like great for 6?
I think it's tough to pinpoint like best at 6 in particular, but I think these are all games that play great at 6. Like these are games that I would look at and be like, I would want to play this game with minimum 6 players.
Yeah.
To make it really shine.
Awesome. Well, we can just jump in, and I did not include any party games. I don't think that I did either. I mean, I guess it depends on your interpretation. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with, are yours ranked in any particular order?
No.
Okay.
I could rank them, but
well, let's just start with whatever one you want to bring up first.
Perfect. So the first one on my list is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. And this
Nice.
is where I say, like, is this a party game? I don't think so. It's murder mystery, kind of. Have you played?
I played a while ago
Yeah.
and I loved it. And I have like a really funny story that I barely remember, but my partner Matt's dad is just like, he was just like horrible at lying. And I
Yeah.
forget exactly what happened, but I haven't played it in a while, but I liked it. And I would also say that's not a party game.
Yeah, okay, good. So this is designed by Toby Ho. It was released in 2014 and it's published by Gray Fox Games. Now, it plays 4 to 12. I have not played it at 12. I have played it at 6. I have played it at like 5. I played at 4, 5, 6, and I think at 8. And I think 6 is a really good sweet spot. 12 would be chaos. I don't even know. That would be nonsense. But basically, so Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, it is kind of like a murder mystery style game where everybody is taking on different roles. So most players will be investigators. One player is going to be known as the forensic scientist, who is like giving clues to try and help the investigators solve this murder. And one player is, in fact, the murderer. So you are trying to figure out who among you is the murderer. And it is one of you. And depending on player count, like at 6+, you can also have an accomplice. So the murderer could also have an accomplice. So there's actually 2 people against you. Little sneaky sneaks. But basically, like the forensic scientist is trying to give everybody clues to help them figure out, like, it's the murder, it's the means of murder. So like how they did it and key evidence. So the thing is, they're pulling these cards that have like just a bunch of words on them, and they have these like little bullet tokens that they're putting on. Okay, like this, I guess, is a good clue, and this is a good clue, but you have to work with what you have. So the forensic scientist isn't necessarily always giving you great clues. But basically, like what you're going to do then is they'll give the clues, and then you're going to have time to plead your case, to be like, it's not me, and here's what I think. I think it's this person. And you start like, it's leaps in logic city, because you're like, well, it's obviously like he's saying that there's a pool of blood. And obviously, if this person was running in the woods, they could have tripped. And if they tripped, they could have hit their head, and then there'd be a pool of blood. So it's Jason. It's Jason's the murderer. And then, so like, what I love about it is like, it is a game where you have to lie. And some people don't like that because some people aren't good at lying in those games. But listening to people defend themselves is hilarious, especially when you're like, I can't tell if you're lying. And then listening to, like I said before, the leaps in logic, because people will go through like every possible scenario to try and pin it on you. And then you're like, it's not me. And so we have like a rule, and I don't know if it's like written in the actual rules, but we're like, when you are accusing someone, the other person can't say anything. They just have to sit there and take it. So you can't be like, it's like fighting back and forth. Like, you'll get your time when it comes around to you. I just think it's such a blast. And it is a game that you definitely want to play. Like, I'd say like 6 is great. Between 6 and 8 would be the sweet spot. But like 6 is good because you're not getting lost in the information, because otherwise it's like everybody has 4, I think 8 cards in front of them, because you have 4 pieces of key evidence and 4 means of murder. So otherwise it's just like, well, I don't know. It just becomes too chaotic, but it is silly. And you want enough people that you can like catch people in a lie, but not so easily.
So it's
like,
obvious. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you're playing with 4 players and you're like, well, obviously it's this because nobody else has anything
right
that relates to this clue, but
it just doesn't work as well.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I remember really, really loving this, like, because there's an expansion for it too, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because I remember after playing it a couple times, I got the expansion, but then I never got it back to the table, and I eventually sold it. But you bringing that up with the social deduction reminded me of 2 quick stories that I have from last weekend gaming in the mountains. One is, have you ever heard of a game called Lovestruck?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Stephen Cordell told me about it at BGG Con last year. We were in line I was like waiting for my coffee, and he's like, I played this game, Lovestruck. And ever since he mentioned it to me, I had been curious to try it. So I finally picked it up. It's a reality dating TV show, social deduction game. So you have some people that are there for trying to find love, and then you have some people who are there for the wrong reasons, and you have to kind of like figure it out. I think it'll be great at 6. I played it at 10, and I've only played it once, and I feel like 10 was too much, especially with new players. But it was still really amazing because we all like role played. Like you get a little, like I was the party animal. There was someone who was mysterious. There's someone who's the parent, and you can like couple up with people. And then you're basically, if you're on the bad team, like I was there for the wrong reason, you want viewership to go up to 10 million or something like that, because that means like there's a lot of drama happening.
Right.
And then the good people don't want that to happen. So, but it's really cool. So I say, check that out. And then also last social deduction little story is Blood on the Clock Tower. We did the same thing where like you let one person speak, and then the other person can respond. I played this one game of Blood on the Clock Tower. We were playing with some script. I ended up, of course, being the imp. And and I had 2 minions, and I was this weird imp. I just like looked up my phone to see what it was called, Vigor Mortis. But I had one person who was new to the game, who was one of my minions, but she was sharp. And then another person had played before, and we won. It got down to like 3 people, and we ended up winning. And like I hate that feeling of like being on the bad team, but it also gives me like a bit of a rush because I like to see if I can pull it off. I like to see like if people know I'm chatty and I'm bad and I just stop talking, they're gonna be like, oh, she's bad. Yeah. So I have to like figure out how to like act like myself when I'm bad. And it was just it was so thrilling. Like I still really love Blood on the Clock Tower. Have you played that?
I have, yeah. And see, the problem with me is everyone always suspects me because I'm the opposite. Like, if I am the thing, I'll be kind of like chill and everything. But if not, I start giggling and people are like, oh, she must be a bad liar. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, it's not me. It's actually not me.
Okay. Anyways, the first game on my list is sort of a split. I put Dune Imperium Uprising because the 3 versus 3 mode is so fun, and it makes like I already love Dune Imperium and Dune Imperium Uprising. I get that it's not the most thematic Dune game, but the 3v3 experience can be played in 3 hours if everybody has played Dune Imperium or some version of it at least once. And it's just like a very cool collaborative experience. But I'm also, and I'm being brief with this because I've talked about Dune Imperium a lot on this podcast, but also I'm putting Dune, the like Gale Force 9 Dune in this category because that is so thematic. The only challenge is like with Dune, that's more of like a weekend game. Like it could take like 5 hours, you know, maybe more. Whereas like Dune Imperium Uprising is a weeknight game. I know my friend Tim, who I got into Dune, wants to like kind of get a regular group that we can play like the main Dune game, because it really is a fantastic 6-player game experience. But also, don't sleep on Dune Imperium Uprising because have you played Uprising or this 3v3?
I've played Dune Imperium. Jeff's favorite version is Uprising. We haven't played the 3v3, and I didn't even know that was a thing. And so now I'm like, that sounds I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it's not like, it doesn't like add too many rules. Basically what it does is one player on like team 1 is going to be Muad'Dib. So Commander Muad'Dib. And then on the other team, you have the Emperor. So like think of them as like the team leaders of the opposing teams. Then the 2 people they're partnered up with they're playing more of a regular Dune Imperium game where they're doing all the like worker placement, but they do some things to make it more thematic. Like the Emperor can't do anything with sandworms. Only the Muad'Dib side can. And each leader or commander or whatever you want to call them, I guess they're leaders, they have their own little player board that they can do certain things. But whenever they're going to like gain troops or resources or something that they don't really have, they have these 3 tokens. One is pass to my partner on the left, pass to my partner on the right, or I can choose,
Right.
And I just remember I've only done this once, but I would definitely want to do it more. But we had this turn where I was able to give someone on my team the resources he needed to go to this space to muster up enough to win the conflict. And it was so exciting. So this slot is for Dune Imperium Uprising 3v3 and also Dune.
Awesome. Yeah, love
you
that.
Probably do you like Dune, like the lore, the IP and stuff?
I've never read the books. I haven't even watched all of the movies.
Oh, wow.
But Jeff has read the books. He's like loves the movies. And I don't know why, like it's just not an IP I've ever gotten into. I'm sure I would love it. But like I've played Dune Imperium. My brother owns Dune, the Gale Force 9 game. So like we have all of it like that we could play.
Yeah, I would definitely like watch a full movie and then play that Dune with your brother. 6 players. It's really, really cool. It's a cool experience.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Intrigue.
All right. So that was Dune and Dune Imperium Uprising 3v3. What's the next game on your list?
Okay, the next one, if anybody knows me and Jeff at all, they know that we love this game, and that is Camel Up. Second edition. Camel Up. To be clear, has to be second edition. And this game, like, to me, the more the merrier. We have played this. It's for 3 to 8 players. We have played it a full 8, but I do think 6 is a really good sweet spot for Camel Up because it goes really quick. Like, not that like 8 players is super extending the game, but like I feel like pacing at a 6 player is really good. So Camel Up is published by Logout Games. It came out in 2018. It's Stefan Bogan, 3 to 8 players. And the reason, so I'll tell you a little bit about the game and then why, I guess. But this game is silly. First of all, it has a pop-up board, which I love. It's great. It's like a big palm tree, just pops right out of the board. It's amazing. So in this game, like it is camels racing and you are betting on who you think is going to finish this race. You're betting on like every round, who's going to come in first and second of that round. And then also throughout the game, you could place bets on which camel you think will finish first and which camel you think will finish last. And you've got a bunch of options you could do on your turn, the best of which is to take the plastic pyramid and shake it and press a button and it like poops out a dice. It's the best thing ever. And the dice are the different colors matching the camels. And there's like 5 different camel colors. And the number on the dice will move those camels. But what's great about the second edition and why it's very specifically has to be the second edition is because they introduced what they call crazy camels, or as I call them, quasi camels. But there's a white camel and a black camel that are going the opposite way. And so if a camel moves on top of one and then one of those camels move, it starts to move those camels backwards. And so if they were in first place, they might not be. They may now be going in the opposite direction. It just like adds in an element of complete chaos to the game.
Love it.
But that's basically the game. It's pretty straightforward. And we have a house rule that anytime you take the pyramid and you roll the dice, you have to yell "Camel up." And everybody has to yell it. And you have to be exactly
before you poop out the die.
Before you poop out the die, it's for good luck. But like this game, it has big moments, and it's so silly. And it's so silly because like these are camels racing, and what I love to do is like first round, I'll bet on who I think is going to win the whole game, which is absolutely ridiculous. But this game just plays so well with like a group of 6 people because like your energy will feed off of the other people. And, you know, you're like, I'm going big on the blue camel. That camel's going all the way. And then people will start like outwardly verbalizing like, I hope the blue camel gets on the quasi camel and we're gonna like go backwards and
Quasi camel.
It's just like, yeah, the big fun moments just get bigger when you have that play group, but you have to play Camel Up boisterously. It's not a quiet game. If you play it quietly, I hate to tell you this, but you're not doing it right.
Camel Up.
Camel Up.
Well, Amy, you're not going to believe this, but I've never played.
But it's so fun.
I know. I played some like knockoff similar version at some point, and there were like snakes on the track. I don't remember what it was called, but it wasn't Camel Up though. And also, well, I played Divinity Derby also, which I do love. I don't know if you played that because it's like
I haven't.
It's almost like Greek mythology people that are creatures that are racing, and you're betting on which one's going to come in first, second,
right,
something like that. But it's really fun. I know so many people who love Camel Up, and I think specifically the second edition. So
yes,
I need to get on that.
Quasi camels are bust. Like, what are you doing?
I'll get on it.
Yeah.
All right. So the next game I'm going to mention, I'm kind of curious if you played it. If you haven't, I think you'll like it based on what I've learned about you and Jeff today. Border Reivers. Have you ever heard of Border Reivers?
No, I haven't.
Okay. This is a GMT game designed by Ed Beach, who is the same designer of Here I Stand and Virgin Queen. And I don't know if you've heard of or ever played either of those, but Here I Stand, I'm just tossing that as an honorable mention just because it's hard to get to the table. I call it historical TI4. But Ed Beach created this game called Border Reivers, which it's a war game, I say, question mark, because it's got like card drafting. It's got sheeples. It's got like, it doesn't,
sheeples.
Yeah. Like it doesn't look or feel like anything else I can think of in the like historical gaming space. And it's basically set in like 1513 to 1603 when there were like raids on the England and Scotland border. And everybody is playing as one of the key families from that time. And I really do think that I think, did I play this at 4 at some point? I think it's best at 6, in my opinion. Like, I think it's really, really fantastic because you have all 6 families. You're sitting across the table from each other. You have your little area. Your livestock is going to be worth victory points at the end of the game. So it does have that Uwe Rosenberg feel to it, that farming feel. But you're drafting cards in phase 1. So each of the 3 years, I believe, is split into like 4 seasons. Like there's summer, fall, winter, spring. And in summer, I might be mixing this up, but in one of the seasons, you draft cards. And the cards you're drafting are either like one-time effects, or they're going to be people that you can put on your player board that are going to give you like special abilities. Then it gets to another phase where you're like getting income and you're planning what you're going to do in the winter. So winter is kind of broken into two steps, and everybody's going to put their card down that they're going to play, or it's basically saying who you're going to target and with what kind of attack. And it could be a raid. Like you could be trying to take sheep from them. You could be trying to free one of your family members from their jail. Like there's all sorts of stuff. It's really like thematic, and yeah, I don't know. It's just like nothing else. I would love to have a group to like play this regularly with, because I think, again, like it's a game that I feel like with all new players except one teacher, the first time I played it was like 4.5 hours, but I think it could get down if everybody knows the rules. And it's not overly complex. It really isn't, but you have a lot of ways you can kind of like customize your situation with the way that the different, you have all these different cards. So, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. I haven't even heard of it. And you just made me think of, Have you ever played the GMT game Leaping Lemmings?
No, but I own it.
Oh, okay. You got to play it. And
Okay.
it's a miss because this would be the best at 6 because 6 is its top
Really?
player count. This game it's the most un-GMT like GMT game ever.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Like
it's like a kid's war game or something, right? Or
yeah,
like
it's like lemmings they're trying to run to the edge of the cliff so they could jump off, but there's eagles that might eat them. And you're messing with other people's lemmings by like stacking on top of them. And it's, that would be a great 6-player game.
I need to bust this out. Okay, good,
Yeah,
good. I'm glad I brought this up to remind you of that.
Yeah,
which is reminding me that I need to actually play that game because it's in my little storage room, and that's so cool. Yeah, I've been wanting to play that one. So okay, cool. Well, check out Border Reivers. It was cool because Edward, again from Heavy Cardboard, I just saw it Circle DC was saying. He was like, he's like, I gotta thank you. And I was like, why? And he was saying how like historically, like him and Jonathan Cox from like John Gets Games or Getting Game, I forget what he changed his channel name to. He was saying that they use each other's how to play videos to learn games that they're gonna like stream. And he was saying like he used my how to play video to prepare for a live stream that he did with Border Reivers. So I was like, that's cool. That's cool. Nice. So I do have a how to play video out there if anybody's curious to see what this looks like. But it's really fun. So that's Border Reivers.
Yeah. My next one is like, I would say this is a family game for sure. But it is Challengers. Have you ever played Challengers?
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
I've only played it twice. Once with 8 and once the very first time was 2, and I was like, I don't really get
the very first time I played was 2, and I was like, what the heck is this game?
Yeah. But then when I played with 8, and I thought about that one for this. But go ahead.
Yeah. So Challengers, this is from One More Time Games. It plays 1 to 8, so you can even play it solo. It was released in 2022, and this game is essentially like, the theme is capture the flag, but I view it as more of like a tug of war kind of game. But basically it's a tournament. So every let's say you have 6 players, which is obviously what you're going to have if you're playing the game. But you're going to be playing against one other person. So you're going to have groups of 2 players playing this like tug of war game. And it is a deck building game. So you start with a pretty like basic set of cards, and then throughout the game you are going to be adding new cards and stronger cards to your deck. But the game is played over 2 phases. So you have your I think it's the deck phase where you choose the new members, and there's a bunch of there's like 75 different characters and like 6 different sets you could choose from. There's like aliens and cats and like all of these things. So you're going to be adding new members into your deck, and then you go into your match, and there's these beautiful play mats that you get to play on. And like I said, you're basically playing a tug of war. So you flip the top card of your deck, and whatever that number is, the next player then has to beat that number. So you'll flip cards until you beat that number, and then you take the flag. And you're just pulling back and forth until somebody wins that match by outplaying the other person. Some of the cards have like special abilities and things like that you'll trigger. But like once you play that match, there will be cards that will tell you, okay, well, your next matchup is against this player. So then you will then play that player. And then, so you're basically doing like a tournament where everybody's playing each other. And then whoever the top 2 scorers of all of those games, I think it's 7 rounds. So the 7th round is the final matchup. Then you like go head to head with the 2 best players. And what I think is fun about that and playing a game with 6 players, even though 2 players are playing the final round, now you've got a crowd around you that's like cheering for you because you're like, well, Jamie just beat me in that last round, so I don't want her to win. So you got to win. You got to beat her. And it's just like, it's such a unique game because there's not a lot of games that are set up in a way where like everybody's kind of playing their own separate game, but you're still all playing the same game.
Yeah.
And there is a ton of variability because in the way that you build your deck and which sets you choose and all of that stuff. And there's also a beach cup version. So there's an additional version. Yeah. It's just like, and you could play it with the whole family because it's not a complicated game.
Yeah.
But it is super fun, and I find it to be really unique. And this is one where like I think that the 6 players would be perfect for it. Goes up to 8. 8 might take a little bit too long, maybe, because you're kind of like, what if Jeff is really slow at his match and I have to sit there
Typical
watching?
Jeff. Come on,
typical,
Jeff. Get it
honestly,
together.
typical Jeff. But I just think it's fun for the whole family. You could play it at 6. You could take it to a family gathering, and it's not like, you typically go to a place where people don't play board games and you are taking a party game. And this is not a party game. This is a game that like people will be able to understand easily, and you could play with like the whole family or the whole friend group, break up your game day. And it's colorful and it's cute. There's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
What's not to love about that?
I totally agree. I haven't played it with 6, but I did get to play it with 8. And I thought that was so fun. Just what you were saying about like, oh, who am I matching up against next? Like the way the game kind of determines that is really clean. And it's like, okay, now I'm battling you. And I'm sitting on this side of the table and I'm battling you this time. And okay, let's see what we got. And it is, you get that it is family weight, so you can teach this to just about anyone. And they're deck building. They don't even realize it, but they're deck building. And then it's just an auto battler, and it's super fun. Yeah. Because you're trying not to fill up your bench, and then at the end when the 2 people are going, yes, there's a crowd. Yeah. So my limited experience, I enjoyed it a lot, and I would definitely play it with 6 if I had like 6 light gamers. Because I'm like, I like party games, but sometimes just because it's 8:00 at night, I don't want to shift to party games. There are other lighter filler
options.
Games, card games. Yeah. Good pick.
Yeah.
Challengers. My next pick is one that I haven't played nearly enough and that I'm kind of like dying to revisit, and that is Sidereal Confluence. Is that on your list?
I know. I haven't played it.
You haven't played it.
I can't remember what convention I went to, but Benita and Casey had a meetup. And at that meetup, Nealon from Board Game Barrage brought that game, and he's like, we're doing it. And they had like a table of like, it was whatever the full player. It was a full player count.
9.
Yeah. And I was like looking over there and I'm like, they're starting this now? And we're like, no thanks. I haven't played it, but I felt like that might have been too much for my first experience.
Yeah. So this is designed by Tal Seti Deichmann, and it came out in 2017 originally from WizKids. I don't remember if WizKids was the original publisher, but they definitely did the like remastered edition that's out now. And it plays with 4 to 9 players. So this is very much like one of those like event games because it takes up so much space, but it's not overly complex. It's a trading and negotiation game where each player is going to be a unique asymmetrical alien race. And you're basically going to be getting resources, and spending them to research tech. And a lot of what you're doing is converting resources, but like, to run your conversions for your faction, you need to work with other players. So it's like this chaotic simultaneous trading, negotiation, really, really fun. It's just like anything. I'm pretty sure like you can make deals on cubes, ships, colonies, letting people use technologies. And also, if you have enough resources, you can research technologies. And you can upgrade colonies, and then you can spend resources on like special cards like that are unique to your alien race. And then everybody simultaneously runs your economy, and you're spending resources to like get more resources to do stuff to get technologies. And once you research a technology, I think other players can use those technologies. And then the end of the game, like you're going for victory points. And so you're just trying to be better at it. The first time I played it was with 5. And that seemed like it was like on the slightly low side. But we had such a phenomenal time with it. And I can't say that it's a best at 6, 7, or 8 because I don't know yet. But I think 6 is going to be probably the sweet spot where it's like there's great negotiation and trading happening, but like not too much. And I think I could fit 6 on my table. We'll see.
Right.
But yeah, this is just like one I've been dying to revisit. I was hoping to over the weekend, this past weekend, but didn't get around to it. But it is Sidereal Confluence.
Yeah. I struggle with negotiation games because I always feel like I'm being taken advantage of. Because people are like, oh, here's this deal. And I'm like, I have no idea if this is a good deal or a bad deal. So sure, let's do it.
And this is all like open trading.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like pit or anything. Like it's not
right.
But it is like I think you would like it, especially if you like asymmetrical factions and stuff like that.
For sure. So the next game on my list is one of my favorite games of all time. Like, I love this game so much. And that's Awkward Guess. Have you ever played
never
Awkward
played
Guess?
it. I've heard of it.
Amazing. So it's basically, it's published by Megacorpin Games, and it's for 1 to 8 players. It was published in 2016, and the designer is Ron Gonzalo Garcia. And they recently came out with a new, like a new edition, like a new version of the game. Not like they still have the base, and then now there's like a new set of cases. But this is what I would call like Gamer's Clue.
Okay.
So the whole thing is that there has been a murder. A billionaire has been murdered in his home, Mr. Walton. Exactly. And you have to figure out who did it. So this is a deduction game.
Love it.
I love deduction games. They're like my all-time favorite kinds of games. But so you're trying to solve the murder and what you're doing and how you're doing that. So you have to figure out who killed him, how they did it, why they did it, and did they have an accomplice? And there's a set of characters, and you're working within his home. So everybody's got a hand of 6 cards, and those cards will have like different values on it. So it might be like 1, 2, 3, whatever. And those points are saying how many pieces of information those cards hold. And that's how you kind of, there's a bit of negotiation within this game. So
you got it. You got it.
No. So basically, like, on your turn, you are asking the group for information. I want to know about the kitchen, and I want to know about this person. And people around the table could be like, oh, well, I've got information on the kitchen. I'll trade you for something in your hand, and you have to trade for equal or greater value. So if they're giving me a 2 card, I have to trade a 2 or whatever it might be. And then you're just trying to get information from everybody else, and you're going to be getting new cards. What I love about this game is that because you're trading so much, you might eventually forget who you've traded with. So if you were to ask me like, oh, do you have information on the kitchen? I could be like, yes, I do. And I could give you something that you've already seen. Because you can't see the cards that I'm giving you until I give you them. And you might look at it and be like, I already knew all of this information. And the game is like endlessly replayable because there's an app and there's a billion different like scenarios.
Cool.
And what I like about this, because how it's different from a game like Clue, like if you guess in Clue, you're done. Like you can't keep playing. This allows you to keep playing. You basically like miss your next turn and then you can kind of jump back in. But I just think it's really funny because you're looking around the table and everybody is like, you know, all the numbers and letters going in their head, and they're like, what did you do? What did you tell me? What do you know? Because people will be like, oh, I think I got it. And they'll be like, well, what do you know? I need to ask about the library. So it's just like, it's one of my favorite deduction games. And you could play it like solo and whatever, but I think the interaction and the conversation that it generates and like trading of the cards is just perfect at 6.
Fun.
And I've played it at 6, like specifically at 6, I think 3 times. And anything less is a little bit less exciting. Anything more, you're getting into chaos territory, which can be fun. But
6
it might
is
get
a
a little
sweet
bit
spot.
too. Yeah, 6 is a sweet spot. Yeah, it's fantastic though.
I'm gonna have to get this one. Awkward Guests.
Awkward Guess.
Cool. Okay. So the last 2 on my list are both, well, the one that I am saying last is definitely deserving of the quote unquote number 1 slot. This one, I don't know if I would necessarily like put it above Dune or anything, but I should just stop and just say what it is. Okay. So my next game is called Dûhr, the Lesser Houses. Dûhr. I think it's Dûhr, pronounced Dûhr, the Lesser Houses, Duhr.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised, like many people probably have not, because it's from Devious Weasel Games.
I
and
love
it's desi-
Devious Weasel.
Okay, yeah.
But I
it's
haven't
like,
heard of this.
all right, good. Okay. You are going to love this then.
Nice.
This came out in have you heard of Bemused?
No.
Okay, they're like, I forget, I think Bemused might be from like 2017. This one
Right.
came out in 2018 because,
Okay.
like you, when I discovered Devious Weasel games, and I was like, these are so weird and interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted everything. So
Right.
this is designed by Jenna Feli, and it's a re-implementation of a game called Bemused. And I own both of them. And for whatever reason, I remember the first time I tried to play Bemused. This is a small, like, box, like not the smallest size card box, but like fairly small because it's mostly cards and or tiles. And when I played Bemused, it was like, wait, what? Even though I thought I knew the rules, it's just weird enough that you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? But then at some point, our good friends down the street, Jake and Cassie, Jake's friend Eric was in town. And I was like, oh, let's play this. And we had 5. There were 5 of us because it plays with 4 to 6 players. And it was our first time playing Dûhr, the Lesser Houses. And it was so fun. I don't remember why, but like once it just clicked, we were like vibing. So I brought it with me last weekend and was able to play it twice because this is a game that only takes about like 20 to 30 minutes after you explain the rules. Each player is going to be... Oh, and by the way, when I recently played it, I played it with 6 players both times. But each player is basically, you have your own family. Let's think Game of Thrones. But you're trying to vie for great house status. And you're going to be taking turns. So everybody will have their little family placard, like their house placard in front of them. It looks kind of like a tarot-sized card, but it's a tile. It's double-sided. So when it's upright, it means your house is favored. Now, during the game, your house will likely become disfavored at some point, in which case you tilt it horizontally, 90 degrees. And then there's a way you might become vilified, in which case you flip it over to the opposite side. And depending on what your house status is, that will dictate like the types of actions you can take or what your turn will look like. So each house has its own like house ability. Like you have a special action that I'll say, quote unquote, only your house can activate. But everyone also starts with a random conspiracy tile, meaning I'm in cahoots with, most often it would be a different family, but there's some rule if you end up getting your family's conspiracy card or tile. So like maybe you're the yellow house, I'm the red house. And my conspiracy, which is face down at the beginning of the game, is the yellow house. So I can choose to, as long as my house is favored, I can choose to flip it over and say, ha, I have, I'm in cahoots with Jamie's family. Then I have access to using your house ability too. So that's like the reason you might want to do it. But this game has suspicion cards. So suspicion cards will have, they're all small cards, and they're going to have one of the house icons on them. And each house has an icon and a color. And then you have scandal cards, which are just generic black and white cards that say scandal. And basically what you're doing is putting cards on people's houses. And you could just be like really boring about it and be like, I'm putting this card here. But we like to role play. We like to say, I heard some stuff about Jamie's house, and then then I slide a suspicion card over there. And so when you give someone a suspicion card, it has to match their house. So I should say you have a hand of cards. You start with a couple of your own house suspicion cards, and then you have like random and I think one scandal or something like that. So, you have to play stuff that you have available in your hand. And like, maybe I have one of your cards and I'm like, I heard some stuff, Jamie. And I throw a suspicion card on you. Now you have one card in your tableau. the minute a player has 5 cards between Scandal and Suspicion in their tableau, you can't have more than 5, you become disfavored. And when you become disfavored, you tilt your board, and on future turns, you basically, no matter how many cards you have to randomly take 2 from your hand, and that's all you can play with for your disfavored turn. But out of those 5 cards, if ever there are 3 or more Scandals, that's how you become vilified. And when you're a villain, you're going to discard your whole hand of cards, and then you have 3 special evil actions. Like you can give Scandal cards to other people. You can, you're trying to get people on your side. So all the while we're playing these cards on each other. The game ends when there's only one favored house left or none. Right. So once everybody's either going to be like, or most people are going to be disfavored or vilified, and possibly one person will be favored at the end.
Right.
And the way it scores is, if you're favored, the one player that can be favored, you will get 10 points minus 2 points for each Scandal card that's face up in your tableau, minus 1 point for each Suspicion.
Right.
And if you're disfavored, it's the same thing, except it's 9 points, minus 2 per Scandal, minus 1 per Suspicion. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, well, everybody's scores are probably going to be pretty close. I didn't say a couple things. One is that during the game, you're going to have opportunities to flip cards face down. You're going to have some actions. Some of the house abilities let you move a card to, like, I can move a Scandal to a different player's house. So you're doing all sorts of stuff. And this scoring only impacts the cards that are face up at the end of the game. Then the other thing is everybody gets a secret objective at the beginning, an agenda. And you get 2 that you get to choose one, but that is your way to make some bonus points. And it's something like the last game I played, I wanted the house, one of the other house, my neighbor, my closest neighbor to the right, I needed them to be favored at the end. So I'm doing things without telling anybody, like I'm trying to make sure that Matt is favored, because then I'll get plus 3 points. And this is a game where scores are like 8, 7, 6, 4, 4, 2, so it's like that can make or break you. And then if you're a villain at the end, you get a flat 2 points plus 1 point per other villain. So you figure there are multiple villains. They're all going to have the same base score. But once again, your agenda is going to make you stand out. And there are a couple event cards in the deck, but you're mostly like dumping Suspicion and Scandal cards on people and shifting them around. But like nobody really knows why people want to do certain things. And it's really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Like I desperately want to play that.
Yeah. And it's like, it plays really quickly. Like initially people are like, wait, what are we doing? One other thing I'll mention is, besides like your house actions and just like creating suspicion or putting a Scandal on someone from your hand. So there's a master stroke where you could discard a pair of cards, doesn't matter which house, to conceal a card, flip a card face down anywhere. So you can like wheel and deal. You can trade cards, like all this. So you could do that. Also, you could discard 2 cards to remove and discard a revealed Scandal card from any house. Usually you're probably going to do your own, but it depends on what your objective is. Right. And then you could also take a Scandal from the Web of Scandal deck and put it on a house with that master stroke if you discard 2 cards. There are also about I want to say 6 event cards in this thick stack of suspicion cards. So there are a couple events that all happen. So the other thing you could do with a master stroke is you can negate the event. You can negate someone using their house ability, and you can negate someone using one of those master stroke effects, and then you can nope a nope in this game. So,
nice.
And anybody can do it off turn. But the thing is, you're burning 2 cards, and each turn you're only drawing back 1 card, or you're only netting 1 card because you can discard 1 to draw 2. But you're all only getting on, so it's like ooh, it's kind of risky, but sometimes you want to stop somebody from doing stuff. So it's just like a bunch of shenanigans with like really tight scoring, fascinating interaction. And yeah, it's really, really cool. It's going to be one that I'm probably going to like start traveling with as a filler game. I'm glad that I revisited this one recently, and it's fantastic with 6. I would do it with 5 also. I'd probably try it with 4, but you know, for same reasons you were mentioning, you know, this spice of not knowing. Actually, it's probably fine with 4. Who knows? I don't know. I will have it with me at conventions and stuff. I think this is a backpack game. You should check this one out.
I will, yeah, because we love Cosmic Frog, Mirroring a Mary King. Like they just make the strangest games that just work. And it's like, what is, like, when you read the Cosmic Frog rulebook, you're like, what is happening? But then you play it and you're like, this is so entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a good time.
Yeah, it's like between I mean, obviously the theming on this isn't the wackiest thing. It's not as wacky as Cosmic Frog or the Mirroring a Mary King. But for something that almost feels like, oh, you're just playing some cards down on people's tableaus, there's so much to it. It's just like really fascinating. So yeah, that's Dûhr, the Lesser Houses from Genefili and Devious Weasel Games. Jamie, what's the last game?
So the last one for me is a game called Cursed Court.
I love that game. Okay, not in a while. Another one I haven't played in a while, but awesome.
So Cursed Court came out in 2017. It's from Atlas Games, 2 to 6 players, and it was designed by Andrew Hansen. And so a couple times a year, Jeff and I get together with Rodney from Watch It Played and his wife, Christy, and their family. And we have what we call Gaggle-con, where we play as many games because, you know, the Canadian geese. And that is where I first played.
Actually, I did not know that. But
oh, yeah. Yeah, we do Gaggle-con. We do like a whole like poster that like we draw a goose on it. It's a thing. Usually like twice a year we do it. And so I played Cursed Court for the first time at a Gaggle-con, and we played it at 5. And this goes up to 6. And I really think playing this at a full player count would be like the way to go. So basically, Cursed Court, it's a weird game to describe, but there's a board in the middle with 9 nobles. And those nobles are also going to appear on cards in this deck. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a card dealt out between you and the people next to you. So you don't get a card, but I would have one like between you and me, and I'd have one between me and Jeff. Yep. And then you get to look at those cards to gain some hidden information that only the 2 of you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's going to be happening is you are going to be placing bets on either nobles or these spots in between nobles where you could be betting like with 2 or 3 or 4. But there's a grid of cards that is going to be built off to the side. And what you're betting on is how many times do you think that these characters are going to show up? And you have some information because you might see like, oh, I have a jester to this side. And oh my gosh, I have a jester to this side. So I know for sure the jester is going to be popping up twice. And you have crowns that you're putting out. And if you place the crown on the noble, you are saying that I believe that this noble will show up at least, like they're basically, it's like, who's coming to the party? I believe that the queen is going to show up at least once, 1 or more times. So you put your crown on there. Or if you put it on the other sections, like some of them match up 4. So it's like, I am saying that the queen, the jester, the duke, and the duchess are all going to be at this party. And how you're doing that is you're placing out your crown, but you also have these coins. And the coins are your defense because people can bump your bets. They have to bet
and they will.
Double.
They
and
will.
they will. That's what makes it fun. They have to bet double in order to do that. And people will do that just to be mean. Because if you're placing out a bet and they're like, oh, well, Jamie knows the jester is going to be out. That's why she's betting it. So I'm going to bump her. You get all of your coins and your crown back to put elsewhere. But like if you go all in and heavy on a bet early and you're running out of coins in order to be able to like push people around, you kind of get stuck with what you get stuck with. And then at the end of the round, it plays over 4 years. And each year there's like seasons. But basically like at the end, you get to score points based on how many times those characters did in fact appear. And it's so mean.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know if it always is, but the way that we played it, we were like bumping each other and you're like just making these bets, and it's sneaky because you don't want to give away the information that you have.
Right.
So I know there's 2 jesters. I'm not going to put my crown on a jester immediately. That would be crazy. Okay. You want to make people think that you believe that the king is coming. You're like, oh yeah, it's definitely the king. I'm going to put a big bet on the king and try and sneak in the jester later. But we were cruel in this game, but we were having the best time ever. Like, people were pushing, like, I don't know what it is, but I think, like, did I say that you could play, like, you can play this at 2?
Oh
No. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
This is a game I would say no thanks to that. I think, I don't even know, like, I don't even think it would be great at 3, maybe 4, but like, I think you want to play this at the full player count. Because like everybody's got 2 pieces of information and you're like looking around being like, what do you know? What do you know? Like, I know what you know, but what do you, what do they know? Like, you know something else. And it's just like one of those games that like, it's really unique. It's different. And I hadn't heard about it at all before we had played it that time. And we immediately went out and found a copy and bought it because we loved it. We thought it was so great.
So I kind of have a similar story, but like Cursed Court is probably my first pandemic TTS game. So like right when everything shut down, some of my friends, we were on Discord, like, let's play a game together, you know? And we played Cursed Court. I remember my friend Hector was playing in TTS with his like VR headset, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But we played Cursed Court and it was like, I loved it and went out and bought it too. Like,
yeah.
It's really
one of those games that just like immediately, like, you're in that first round and you're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And there's nothing like quite like it. Like,
no,
I don't think
and
so.
You don't hear much about it. I assume because it's a bit of an older game. It might be a little bit harder to find now. I'm not sure.
I don't know. If not, definitely check it out because it is super fun having that little tidbit of information.
It'd be cool. It feels like a good time. Somebody could make a second edition to breathe a little bit of new life into it. You know what I mean? To get people to hear about it.
Retheme slightly, maybe.
Yeah, sure. Why make it forest animals? I don't care. It's still gonna be
fun. Awesome. So that is Cursed Court. The last game I'm gonna mention is for sure gonna be on like my top games of 2025 list. It is quickly becoming like one of my favorite games, and it is Guards of Atlantis II. This is a game designed by Artie Nuchoporov. He taught me one time how to pronounce his last name. Maybe I did pretty decently then, but who knows? It actually, Guards of Atlantis 2 came out in 2022. There was a Guards of Atlantis 1, but then there was a Kickstarter for a second printing of Guards of Atlantis 2, and I got in on that. And it's published by Wolf Designer, which is a small publishing company, and it plays with 4 to 10 players. And this is a MOBA style, multiplayer online battle arena or something. A MOBA inspired board game that is team based, and there's 0 luck aside from the fact that there's like a coin flip at the beginning of the game, and that's like the tiebreaker. It will continuously flip. It does have an impact, but aside from that, 0 luck. Each player controls a single hero, and you're going to have a hand of cards. You're going to be talking to your teammates, but you cannot talk secretly. All conversations are public. Then everybody's going to commit one of their cards, kind of make a game plan, put one of your cards down. Once everyone's done that, we all reveal, and now we cannot talk to each other. Like, there's no talking, and then we activate our heroes in initiative order. And that's where the tiebreaker comes in, because if we're on opposite teams and we both played an initiative 10 card, and you're on the blue team and the tiebreaker's on blue, you will go first. Then it'll flip the next time we tie. Orange team will go first. But this game has like something like, I don't know if you get like all the expansion hero packs, like something like 32 different heroes, highly asymmetric, super cool, very thematic. And after playing this like probably five or six times now, like I finally tried a level 2 hero because this is one of those games that, you know, most gamers would probably come in and be like, oh, I play board games, so I'm going to play a level 3 hero. Don't do it. Like, Argent tells people, don't do it. Like, this is a game where you could literally play a dozen games and just play the 7 or 8 level 1 heroes and then move on because they get more complex. And then just playing the game itself is not that complex, but the way the different heroes works, the timing of everything, because you often can't like move and attack. So you have to like maybe move somewhere, but then, oh, when your opponent does something different, it's like, oh crap, I got to change my plans. It's also, I mentioned you have 5 cards. You have a yellow card and a silver card that's always in your hand. And then you have, I shouldn't say always in your hand, like it's always a part of your 5 cards. And then you have a red, blue, and green card. And throughout the game, you're going to level up those cards. And so once you have all 3 of those up to level 2, then you're going to like level up to level 3 with all those, but with your choice of the order in which you do it. And each time you level up, depending on which color you choose, you have 2 options. The one that you don't choose, you tuck into your player board and it boosts some stat. So you might get like, oh, I'm going to pick this card because I want this one for the extra initiative because my hero is slow. And you have minions that are kind of like, each team has minions that don't do anything. They provide some defensive modifiers, but as you kill your enemy minions, you get money. That's how you gradually level up. And then you're trying to, a regular game is played over 5 waves. And then I don't know if you're familiar with MOBA games. I think League of Legends is what I heard. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not, but like picture this. We have a big board where we start the battle in the center. So all the minions are in the center. And then all of the heroes on each team are on opposite sides in their own little zone, I guess we'll call it. Yeah, I think they're called zones. And so then you have to move into the battle zone, which is in the center. And if we beat all your minions, we push to the next zone that's closer to your home base. And then if we do that again, we win. So if you can push to the other team's base, you win. But what's going to likely happen is they're going to push back, and then we're back in the center. And each time there's a push, that's like a round, a wave is done. So if it doesn't end sooner, it'll end after the 5th wave. You can also play a shorter game when that's 3 waves. Also, each team has a number of hearts. Every time you defeat an enemy hero, not one of their minions, they're going to have to lose some hearts. So you could also, your team could win by killing people off. This game is just so fun. It's like one of those games where after you've played it, the rules just kind of stick. Then it's all about which hero am I playing? What cards do I have? The cards are multi-use. So if you did plan to like attack with this card and now the person or unit you wanted to attack is moved somewhere else or did something because they had higher initiative, you can use the boots on the card and run, or like, you know, there are a million different options, but you usually have multiple options. And it's just so awesome. I got to play a 5v5 game of it last weekend. Yeah. It was incredible and epic. My team, when you play 5v5, I don't know if this is always the case, but we had like 2 different active battle arenas. And so we split off. And then at some point, a lot of us ended up in this one area. My team was about to die so many times, but we kind of kept pushing through. Like, it felt like you were watching like a really good football game or something. Like, oh my gosh, oh, now they're, you know, we held on, and then I got killed.
Bummer.
but they thought they were going to kill me earlier, but I was able to block 2 attacks.
Yeah.
So I went down fighting, but it was like a really, really good game. Yeah, this game is just awesome. It's such a clean design. I don't know, you can think of it about like a movie or something where somebody directs a movie and you're just like, wow, that was amazing. And that person is probably never going to make another movie like that. Like this is just a game that is going to be in my collection for as long as forever, probably.
Right.
There's so much to explore. It's so fun. There are probably 10 of us in LA that are obsessed with it and trying to play it weekly. And yeah, it's just it's really fun. It's asymmetric heroes, really, really good stuff. So
it sounds super fun. I've never heard of it. But I recognize the publisher because they do a game called Trick Shot, which is a hockey game.
Yeah.
Which I've played.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Canadian. Yes, I've played the hockey game. Of course, I do own it. Yes. But I hadn't heard of this one before. Totally different than the hockey game, but it sounds really fun.
Are you going to BGG Spring?
I'm not sure
yet. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are there, I'm planning to bring my guards rig because I have a backpack with all the heroes, my play mat, and a small box with everything else. So I would be happy to teach you or whenever we're at a play con together.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome.
It's really, really good. It's fun. So that is Guards of Atlantis 2. And I'm really glad we had a balance of different types of 6-player games here that are all really, really great. And now I need to try Awkward Guess. And I missed Cursed Court. You made me miss Cursed Court.
Yeah, makes me want to play it again.
Have you guys ever played Quartermaster General? Any of those? Okay. That's one that I want to play. I know the Quartermaster General World War II is 3v3. Another team game. I hear it's super fun, kind of more beer and pretzels war game, but it's supposed to be really good. I also love Twilight Imperium, but I didn't put it on here because I was I'm thinking about 6-player games that can actually get to the table a little more often
more than once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have you played Citadels?
Have I played Citadels? I don't think I have, no.
Ooh, you will love Citadels. It's a lighter one where you are choosing a character. Everybody chooses a character secretly during the round, and then you call out the different characters and then they take their actions, but there's an assassin who can call out another role that they're going to kill. And if they successfully kill a role, they, but otherwise it's just tableau building, city building card game. Really fun though.
I've definitely heard of that one because it sounds so familiar.
Yeah, it's a Bruno Faiduti game that's been around for
I recognize it. I haven't played it.
Okay, another one. Definitely recommend. You can blind buy that. If you ever see it, it's super fun and really good with 6. So, anyways, yeah. Well, Jamie, I'm glad that we ended up with this topic. And it was kind of a happy accident that we're talking about 6-player games on episode 66. But it worked out, and I love your list of games. I think there's lots for people here to listen to, and
lots to explore.
Yes, lots of different options to explore. So thanks again for taking the time to chat and be on with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's very exciting to be, part of the BGG family. So I love getting to know you more and to chat with you. So it's been great.
Likewise. Yeah, I've always I love your solo mode show and everything that I've seen on your channel. You and Jeff are great, but we'll have to try to get some games in at some point because, I said, prior to today, I had no idea you guys liked war games and went to Circle DC last year and stuff.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that.
I should have known though if you were hanging with Rodney.
Yeah, he's the one. He did it. It's his fault.
I get it. But I want to have Jeff on at some point too.
Yeah, he would love to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I will see you at some convention, I'm sure, at some point before the end of the year.
Yeah,
That's great.
definitely. I will for sure be at PAX Unplugged. And in between then, I don't know if I'll go to Gen Con. Travel's a little tricky right now from Canada. So I think we're going to lay low until, well, I'm sure in November. Like, I'm definitely going to PAX. It's my favorite convention, but possibly BGG Con. So
well,
hopefully at least one of them.
No, because guess what? They overlap this year. Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Okay,
I know.
that sucks.
I was like, I love PAX as well because like my family's in the Philadelphia area, so I get to like visit them, and it's fun. But I also love BGG Con. I'm actually not that mad that it overlaps because I'm like, good. When I'm done BGG Con, I'm done traveling for the year.
Yeah, for the year. In November, which is nice because usually it's like December and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like BGG Con, Thanksgiving, then PAX Unplugged. Then we can like relax for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're going to have to choose, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys take it easy. I mean, traveling is draining. So
it is. Yeah. We did way too much last year. And so this year we're like both cooked. We're exhausted, which is why I didn't end up going to Circle DC because I made the decision 2 days before Jeff left, and I was like, I'm just a little bit tired.
Yeah. No, you need your downtime.
Exactly.
I feel that because I was trying to go to Dice Tower West this year, but I was like, I can't. Like there's a lot.
It's a lot. There's a lot of conventions.
Yeah, and it's like I wish, they're fun, but it's also just draining with life and everything. Anyways, I'll see you at some point, if not on YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah, we always have YouTube.
Awesome. I'll talk to you later, Jamie. Thanks again.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Board Game Geek podcast, produced and edited by Candace Harris. Special thanks to Matt Fonda for editing and mixing our music. Be sure to visit us on the web at boardgamegeek.com. You can also find us on YouTube. I guess I'll finally stop saying Twitter. So X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch under Board Game Geek. You can reach us by email at podcast@boardgamegeek.com. Thanks for listening and happy gaming!